Straw Hut Media.
And we are good to go.
How good are we?
I think we are really good. Well, we're stressed out of our minds.
Out of our minds.
Like,
the wedding is like minutes away.
Minutes away. Like, oh, it's here. It's ridiculous.
But it's also Pride Month.
It is.
Super exciting.
Yeah, should we do a quick yes?
Yeah, we'll do a few yeses, I think, throughout.
Yeah.
Especially with today's guest. We're super excited.
Yes.
Before we get to our guest, though, you already know who it is. But before we introduce our guest, I do want to remind you that our podcast only exists because of you and through your support. So if you want to get on the pod, head over to confessyourmess.us. You can submit your secrets, confessions. You can do them anonymously if you choose. You could also leave us a voice note. If you do that, you're giving us permission to roll that voice note back on one of our podcast episodes.
For eternity.
Yeah. And we try to keep things pretty light. We try to, sometimes give advice, sometimes have a little bit of a kiki. We might judge a little bit, but just prepare yourselves for that. But also, speaking of judging, you can judge us by rating us.
Yes, you can go to Apple Podcasts and you can rate 5 stars. Leave us a comment and you can be our messenger of the week. And you can also go on YouTube, same thing. And also Spotify, you can rate us. So we really appreciate it. Yeah. But let's get into today's ep with our special guest. Confess your mess.
We know her personally. She's been a friend of mine for years, and we're super excited that she made time to come on our podcast because she literally has one of the most successful podcasts like on the planet. Like, it's so good. I've been on it a couple of times. It's in its 7th year, 600 episodes in, 100 million plus downloads. Can you even wrap your brain around 100 million downloads?
That is wild.
That's insane. Also, she's a very successful stand-up comic with specials on Amazon Prime, Netflix, Showtime. You may have seen, I don't mean to brag, on Showtime or Netflix. It's hilarious. You might just know her from Juicy Scoop. She always has the juiciest scoop. Please welcome to the program, to the podcast, Heather McDonald.
Whoop whoop.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for having me, you guys. Good to see you again.
We're
too.
So excited to have you. Your schedule is wild, and it means the world to us that you're here right now because we know how busy you are.
I want to ask you guys, because I've been following you guys, in your journey and everything. When is the wedding? Are you saying exactly when it is?
No, we haven't announced it yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so
I know it's close, but I was like...
So it's this month.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And the only people who know when it is exactly are the people who are coming to it. Because we're such a big deal. We're basically like Travis and Courtney. We're really trying to keep it low key.
We have to keep it so low key because we don't want the paparazzi to get, you know how it is. Yeah, we're so famous.
We're trying to keep, you know how it is, putting your life out there. We're trying to keep some things a little bit private, but it's around the corner. Not many corners.
Awesome.
It's like around like one corner now, or maybe 2. So it's very, very close. We're super excited. You've been on tour. You've been doing your podcast, which continues to grow. I feel like you do like 20 episodes a week now. You're so busy. It means the world to us that you're kicking off Pride Month with us. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, get ready for a long-ass month. It is going to be... I just was reminded before I came on, someone else has posted. I'm like, wow, we're here.
Yeah.
We're here for a month of fun in the sun.
Yes.
Get ready.
We're gonna rage. A lot of big corporations are gonna pretend like they give a about us for a month, and then their logos are gonna go back to regular after they change them to rainbow.
Literally
for a little bit.
at midnight.
People are gonna get pronouns wrong. Walmart's gonna get canceled a couple times. A lot's gonna happen this month. So very exciting stuff.
All
right, Heather. So our podcast is a little different from yours. You break down the juiciest gossip. I know you've been covering Amber Heard and Johnny Depp's trial recently, which has been wild. You are the queen of all things Real Housewives.
Oh my God, which
we
love.
Literally just with Kelly Dodd and Shannon Bedore over the weekend. I saw on your social media. Which, by the way, are they friends right now, or are they like okay?
Yeah, they've been okay for a while.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember who left when. Of course, Shannon was in the last season. I think Tamara has been not on it for the last 2 Real Housewives of OC. Kelly has only been not on it this last one, I think.
Just one, yeah.
So Shannon and Kelly were good at the end of the season in which Tamara wasn't on it. And they've remained good throughout the year, is my impression. So they were fine. Like, everybody was friendly. They went to another bar after, High Tops.
Oh, we love High Tops.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm really kind of bummed I missed it, but it's probably good at the same time. I was boozing pretty hardcore from 2:30 to 6:30, and my husband drove, so he was like, right from the moment that we got there, everyone was like, and then we're going to High Tops. You're coming to High Tops with us. And I'm like, I haven't been to High Tops. Sounds like something I would enjoy. I'm like, but, I had to record my show yesterday on Memorial Day. But if my husband was not there, about half the time I go out, half the time my husband comes, the other half I take an Uber and rip it and end up at a place like High Tops.
Yeah.
But I did have the husband, and so I had said right from the start, no, we're not going to the second scene of a crime. We are not going to a second location. But I think I might have missed out on a little bit of fun. But I still had a good time.
I take an Uber and rip it. She rips it. She rips says, it. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just amazed that the two of them got over. Remember what season was that when Shannon was starting to put on a little bit of weight and Kelly made a comment about her plate of food and she flipped it at the table and she said, "It's not even mine." That scene.
This isn't even my fucking plate, you bitch. Then Kelly was like, "Why don't you shave your face?" Do you remember the shave your face in Ireland?
Yes.
Every time I've been friendly with Kelly, I know she's a controversial figure, but I've been friendly with her. She came on Juicy Scoop a long time ago. And when I see her socially, she is really like a fun, nice person, But every time I'd be like, think that I might see her, I'd be like, I totally, like, there's these little razors that start, like, the shaving your face thing has kind of become a big deal with women, like in the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. And it's the greatest thing because we were always taught, like, if you had a little stash, if you had anything, don't ever shave it. It'll come back as strong as a man's. Okay. Yeah. Then one day someone's like, that's an urban myth. Shave your face. Get rid of that peach fuzz. And now it is the most satisfying thing. Like, I go to my sister's house in Palm Desert. I'm like, I brought the razors, get in the sun. We're going off. And it's just like, when like women just have like little, like, and I can't believe that it's just become a phenomenon. And I'm like, it's really too bad that Kelly Dodd didn't get in on like tiny female razors. Right. And make that her thing because now I do it like every 2 weeks and really looks nice.
I mean, you're glowing, so.
And then when I see someone that doesn't, I'm like, hope Kelly Dodd doesn't see this person after a few drinks.
You know that the headline coming out of this, we get press on this right here. It's going to be Heather McDonald admits to shaving her face bi-weekly. That's the headline right there. Can't wait.
And everybody should. Pride month or not. Right. Shave your peach fuzz, ladies.
Amen.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
All right. So now here's how this is going to work. We've got listener submitted secrets and confessions that we're all going to listen to in real time. We have not seen them ahead of time. Our producer, Curate, gets them all put together and we're going to experience them at the same time and just have live reactions, right? And in order to trust you with our messenger's secrets, you've got to reveal just a little bit of something about yourself. Now, this is not your secret. Whatever confession or secret you brought for us, that's later on at the end of the pod. All right, our listeners have to wait for that moment. This is like a little teeny vice. This is maybe something that you know isn't great for you, that you still do. Maybe it's a bad habit. Maybe it's a person in your life, I don't know, Kelly Dodd, who you know isn't maybe the best situation for you, but you just haven't been able to walk away from yet. This is like a little secret. This is your mess, but yes.
I love watching chiropractic back cracking videos.
So satisfying.
And I'll go off for like 20 minutes and watch them. I have some favorites. It's like for other people, that they maybe would have porn. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love it. I've always loved it since I was 13 and learned how to self-crack, I loved it. Then when I discovered that there were some like weird self-crack like videos on YouTube, now every chiropractor that's like remotely good looking has a strong Instagram post where they just crack and they do the same cracks on everybody. Mm-hmm. And I went and I'm always like, I am like weirdly scared that I'm going to be that one in a million that like becomes a
paralyzed or something.
Person.
Yes.
But I love the sound and my boys can crack and I'll be like, wait, and they'll like go to do their neck because I can't really do it myself anymore.
I'm good at it.
And I'll be like, let me hear it.
Ooh.
And I would crack the boys when they were younger. Wow. And then at one point they're like, I don't want to do our little weird thing anymore. And I'm like, that's strange.
Well, my grandma used to say that if you crack your knuckles, you're going to get arthritis.
Again, it's like the shaving your face. You're f***ing fine. And I've cracked my knuckles and all this my whole life. And the other thing was that they'll get bigger.
Yeah.
I still have the same size ring.
Right.
I've been married 22 years. It's never changed. It's never gotten bigger. So I'm like, I know it's not true.
She would give us, those golden raisins. We eat them on our oatmeal.
Yeah.
She would say golden raisins are the way to cure arthritis. I was like, Grandma, I'm 7. Like, what is this? I'm so paranoid.
I mean, my dad tells me, or he told me sometimes I have to eat like ketchup and tomato paste to prevent prostate cancer because it runs in our family. But I will say,
okay.
He talked about the specific ingredient in there. Anyway, when it comes to those videos, they are so addicting and satisfying, but I'm the same way. I saw those videos and I went to, what was that?
Are we talking the ones where people completely curled over, then all of a sudden they can walk straight by the time they leave the chiropractor?
No, it's literally...
It's like you're like laying on the table with like a pretty cute, fit chiropractor.
He puts his arm around your neck and he's like,
let it drop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let it drop, and then twist their bodies. And the ones where the patients are hotter, that gets more likes and looks. Like if the girl's got a great ass and a pair of Lululemons, or the guy being cracked has like some nice tatted up, fitted arms. Like those you like linger on a little longer, but.
So kind of like porn.
It's
similar to porn.
It's very sexual.
Really
a lot of them are sexual. And so I saw that video, not saying I was going to this place to get a sexual experience, but I went to The Joint. If you live in LA, or actually no, what's her name from Potomac? She owns the
The Joint is kind of cool. It's like a franchise.
Yes.
It's like a Massage Envy, but for chiropractors.
Exactly.
Wait, but who from Potomac is involved?
What's her name? Oh my gosh, she was a new Mia. Remember that was her whole thing.
Mia.
She has she has franchises.
She and her husband own a bunch.
Oh gee.
Didn't he try to lick Karen Huger once?
Wait, but AJ, focus. Listen. So I went to The Joint trying to get this experience, and it was not. I was not. It was nowhere.
It was
near
not a good. It was not good.
It was no. It's not that it was bad. It just wasn't anything like what I see on Instagram. So now I need to find one of those hot.
I went there once and I had an old dude.
Oh, mine was old too.
Oh yeah, you might have been at the same one.
It's not. I don't even care if they're old or young.
So let me ask you. So you went, and did you get any cracks at all, or he was like, "No, you don't need cracks. You just need to like do this exercise."
Essentially, he was like, "Oh, you should do foam roll." I was like, "I already do all those things. I work out like 5 days a week. I'm foam rolling." At the time, I had pain in my shoulder. I ended up going to physical therapy weeks later, but I had pain in my shoulder. I was like, I feel the pop. Like my shoulder pops every single time. So can you like actually crack it into place? And he tried. I didn't like it. It wasn't what I experienced.
You wanted like bubble wrap cracking.
Yes.
You know how you get the bubble wrap? It's like.
Yes.
Heather, every single night when we go to bed, he gets so jealous because the second I lay down, I lay on my side and I usually put a pillow between my legs and I kind of like cuddle to my side. But as soon as I lay down, I push my one knee over and I crack my entire back and my neck, and it's like a ripple effect of just cracks. It's so satisfying.
My son can do that too, and I'm so jealous.
It's so good, and every single time he goes,
I have crack it. We have crack envy, is what you call it.
No, it is addicting like crack too. And he's always like, the second I do that, he's like, oh, here goes AJ. 1 minute, I'm going to be asleep. As soon as I crack my back,
he cracks his back and he falls asleep, and then I'm sitting over there wide awake for an hour later, and then he wakes up an hour before me. He's like, it took so long to wake up. I was like, well, I went to bed an hour after you. So
well, listen, let's get to it. That was a really good mess BS. I enjoyed that one.
We're already like an old married couple. Okay,
we are.
Let's get into the first secret. So again, we don't know what these secrets are, who submitted them, but I will say, Heather, every time you can say anonymous or you can give us a name, so they can choose their own name. So I say that to say this person chose PP Piercing Prince, and they're male, they're gay, and they're 20. Well, that's interesting. A lot of people don't tell us their sexuality. Okay. I've always been obsessed with Prince Albert piercings. If you don't know what the Prince Albert piercing is, I suggest you go look it up on Google.
It's when you get like your penis, the end of your penis, like pierced, right?
There's like a little loop, okay? And it says, I've always been obsessed since I saw my first one watching porn. My parents would murder me if they knew this, but the second I turned 18, I took all my birthday and graduation money, late May birthday, by the way, and got my dick pierced with an expensive ass diamond, no regrets.
A diamond.
Okay, so that's interesting because some people it's not like they have the loop, like the hoops, and then some people just get like a actual piercing, like a stud in there.
Is that hot, Heather? Like, is that hot to you? Do like women find that sexy?
No. Well, I don't have any tattoos. My husband doesn't have any tattoos. I know it's super popular. I think I saw something that like 1 in 4 adults under 30 have some type of tattoo or piercing. Wow. So I get like, that it's not a big deal. People like it. I still am like, oh my God, when he said my parents would kill me. Yeah, I don't think any parent, honestly, is thrilled. I don't think they're ever like bragging. Even if they have tattoos themselves, I don't think they're like, hey guys, I have something really great to announce. My 19-year-old got a big arm tattoo. Like, I just don't think, but as a parent, you have to be like, okay. But the fact that he spent so much money on it and that it's a real diamond that could like fall in somebody's orifices and get lost.
That part
means, I mean, of all the places you're going to have a diamond or a really good piece of jewelry, like have it in a necklace or, in a watch or something. That's the only thing. Like, why not? It's fine that he got it. Who cares? And especially if that's like a kink. But I'm just more disturbed that he spent such an enormous amount of money and it could get lost or broken. Or
we follow somebody who's been on the podcast, Brandon Kyle Goodman.
Oh, yeah.
He has Messy Mondays, and he talks about like sex advice for like queer people in particular, usually. And one person, there's a whole thread. They had a whole conversation about people getting the Prince Albert and then having anal sex, and that it can actually like cause like issues,
tears?
Like prolapse or like it. Yes.
Oh wow!
So
I mean, I would think the same with a vagina. I would not want a dick with a thing in it. I guess some people like it or whatever, but that would worry me because it's like inside of you. Like you got to worry about your organs and internally and like infections and. I wouldn't want to mess with that.
Heather, you're a mother of teenagers. You've been through it, right? When I was 18 years old, I just want to get your take on what you would have done. Because when I was 18 years old, my friends and I went down for our senior trip down to Panama City Beach. It was so beautiful. That's where you go when you're from Ohio. You go to Panama City. You go to the Panhandle. Yeah. And so we're down there, and I wanted to get my eyebrow pierced really bad. And I convinced my friend Jenna, who's coming to the wedding, to get her eyebrow pierced with me. If you know her now, it's going to be the most insane story because she's not that kind of girl. But I convinced her to. We drank a lot of apple pucker, right? So I'm going to get my eyebrow pierced. We don't have cell phones back then. And I'm like, my mom will not help me through college if I do this. So how am I going to get around it? And I was like, maybe I can convince her. So I call her from a payphone outside and I tell her that I already had it done. And we're on the phone for like 5-10 minutes. She cries, screams, yells, then finally says, "It's okay, honey. I love you. Just be safe. I'll see you when you get home next week." When I got home next week, I let her know I did not, in fact, have it pierced until I got off the phone with you. I just wanted to make sure you weren't going to cut me off. And she was livid. Like, what if your kid came home and did something like that to you? Like, what would your reaction be?
Well, my stepdaughter did just come home with tattoos. And she had been hiding them for a while. And she said, my friends and I want to come over and use the pool. She's only 22 and lives in Santa Monica, and she graduated from college, and we're very close and everything. And I said, okay, yeah, bring the friends. So then they come, and they're all like very 20s of this era. Okay,
like Euphoria.
They all have like some tattoos and piercing, and Yeah. But they're all really good kids and really sweet. Like come with flowers and food. And she walks in, and it like took me a minute to like realize, that's a huge arm tattoo. That's not like, what I just did in Mexico where you like the guy comes and it's henna, whatever. And it was kind of genius the way she did that, like in front of her friends, because I just had to be like, okay, kids, I want some hummus and chips. Like, and then I was a little bit like, well, can we slow down on like like anything with limbs? Like, can you be really careful if you And then the one girl goes, I love my leg tattoo. And I'm like, oh God, I don't want her to think I'm a bitch. So it is kind of hard. And then when all of a sudden, like you are the parent, but you want to be cool, and it is their body and it is all that. But I was sharing my feelings with the girl that does my nails, and she has lots of little tattoos and stuff. And she said, my mom always said if I got a tattoo, I would be completely on my own. And when I got that tattoo, she was like, all right, you're completely on your own. And I go, did you regret that? And she goes, yes, I did. She goes, yeah, at a certain point, I really did. I go, well, on the other hand, she never helped you out again. Maybe it sort of motivated you. And it was that like a you knew the consequences and you kind of, but I do think, tattoos and all that stuff is expensive. So it's like, your kid shouldn't be then saying, I can't make rent this month, and then come home with like something that must have cost, $400 or whatever.
I'm picturing at the pool party trying really hard to be Amy Poehler in Mean Girls.
I was thinking the same thing.
I'm a cool mom.
Yes.
I was totally I'm a cool mom, like kids who wants a White Claw, like, can I get you some snacks? And, oh, God. And so anyway, but I did see, because I'm on TikTok a lot, I get a lot of good ads. There are a lot of, the first thing she got was the piercing under the nose, like the little like cow ring. Mm-hmm. And that didn't bother me at all because I'm like, if you take it out, no one's ever going to see it. Same thing with an eyebrow piercing.
Oh, no, I have a scar still because it ripped out.
Yeah, I see the scar.
I used to work at Abercrombie my freshman year of college, and you weren't allowed to have that jewelry at all. Back like racist white Abercrombie, like late 1990s.
Right.
Yeah. And I used to have to take it out every day, and I'd have to put this little thing in to hold it, and it got so infected from taking it out so often that I was scrubbing my face in the shower in the dorms one time, and it ripped right out of my eye. So I have a scar.
Oh, God.
So listen, kids.
Well, anyway, they have fake ones. They have all these fake piercings, just like a clip, old-fashioned like clip-on earrings. They have it for the nose, for the brow, for a lip.
Technology.
So, I suggest that. Same with like coloring your hair blue and green. Like get the kind that just washes out.
Right.
Yeah.
But whatever. That's coming from a mom that's, was a sorority girl. So
our dog Kingston is outside of the door whining because he has major separation anxiety.
He really does.
Like
He's
we're
been so
literally.
strange.
Oh my God! Wait. I wish I had my phone so I could take a photo and show you, Heather. He literally, as soon as I said it, he peeked his head through the door. He's like,
he's
oh my
psycho.
God.
Okay, so our dog Kingston is totally. He's a woodle. He's the sweetest, cutest thing in the entire world. All he ever wants to do is cuddle, and he's definitely a COVID dog. And we actually had COVID like a month ago, so we were home again for a couple of weeks quarantining. And again, he's like, oh, this is normal again. So what are you doing? Why are you not with me holding me right now? He doesn't deal well.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to post that when we post this episode.
We'll post
That's
that.
hilarious.
You look, oh my God, this is even better. You look so cute right now, but also very creepy. He knows I'm going to take a photo. Okay, AJ, why don't you...
I was just thinking of if like anyone ever did like the history of dogs like 500 years from now, they'd be like, and then for 2 years, it was the greatest time in dog history forever when all the owners were home and all the dogs were adopted.
Yes.
Remember when
so
you literally couldn't
You
find a
could
dog
not.
in LA? Like every shelter was cleared out. It was like the greatest time in dog history.
Ours got flown in from Minnesota.
Well, but that's because we had to get a hypoallergenic. That had nothing to do with the shortage, but it's because we had to hit a
We're gonna get canceled for that one.
hypoallergenic dog, and we feel like we have to explain every single time, but we have really bad allergies.
She had a designer pet. Your cat. Was,
Wait, so you're like, we're gonna get canceled, so we're gonna drag her in.
No, but you also had a designer pet. Though. Was it Simba?
Simba the Bengal.
Yeah, gorgeous.
We adopted her.
Oh wow!
But so she was a purebred, but she was like 4 when we adopted her, and then we got our dog during COVID, and who is a purebred as well. She's an Alaskan Kikai, but she was adopted as well.
Wow!
And when we got her, she was 7. She was a former showgirl. She was like in the Best of Show and stuff. But she, according to her owner, she never made it. She never won much.
Oh.
And then she was also a breeder dog, but now she was too old to be a breeder. So they're like, so we're just adopting her out.
Sounds like Elizabeth Berkley in Showgirls, basically, you're describing.
And so then I was like, oh my God. So we went out to lunch and I said, oh my God, this dog in dog years is my age. She really can't have babies anymore. She never really made it in the show business world. I'm like, 100% we're taking this dog home.
Oh,
please,
my
you
gosh.
you sell out. You sell out. You know you do.
And she's so cute. So
All right,
we
I
got
love
the COVID
that.
dog too.
All right, let's get into our next
get
secret.
to the juice. Get to the
also,
confessions.
Elizabeth Berkley was amazing.
As
Saved by
Naomi?
the Bell reboot.
Oh yeah, the reboot
I'm
should have been
upset that
canceled.
it's
The reboot was so good.
It was a really
Should've
great
canceled
reboot.
it.
Okay. Anonymous female Alaska. I don't know why I said Alaska like that. My terrible brother went to prison last year for for selling opiates, and my family still doesn't know it was me who left the anonymous tip for the police. I needed to protect my family. Whoa.
Wow.
I always say, you have family by blood, but I have people I'm closer with who aren't blood relatives. So if
Like, I would hide a body for a couple people in the world, but like to call in and turn in your own family for selling drugs.
I think this is great because you've got to think about not only what she was doing, she was protecting her own family from the people that he might be working for.
True.
But also she was protecting the people that he was selling to. So I think it's fine, but I would keep this secret till the grave.
Is it weird that I want to reference Tina Fey's character from Mean Girls now as a drug pusher? There's so many references in this one. It's all the pink. I think it's all the pink. You know, my little sister sold drugs in high school.
Wait, okay.
She was a drug dealer.
Okay.
Listen, this is a true story. So my sister graduated like 4 or 5 years after me, like early 2000s. And my brother had a really bad injury in football. So they'd given him some like Vicodin or something like that he never really used. It was sitting at home. And she randomly sold them one time at school. Like and she was like, no, that's not illegal. I'm like, Carrie, you're selling prescription drugs at school. Like, how is that not illegal?
Well, Frank, let's bleep her name just in case.
She made a couple $100 off of it.
You know, which sister.
I think I write about it in the book. I don't care.
Well, you already exposed
She's kind of a bitch, so it's fine. She's not coming to the wedding.
She is not. We won't get into that.
I remember this.
Yeah,
Yes,
you do. We've discussed this.
I will say, drugs and this is very fresh in my mind because I don't know if you know this, but I've been, while you go to sleep at night, because AJ hosts a radio show early in the morning, so I binge watch random ass shows. So I'm watching Candy and the Gang right now, and Brian on Candy and the Gang, he came back after leaving because he had a drug and alcohol addiction, and it was I was crying on the sofa last night. Because he went through a lot. His sister died 3 months. I shouldn't be last month, but his sister died 3 months prior. She took her life, and he's talking about his drug addiction. And I was literally like on the sofa crying while you were asleep, like after you cracked your back and passed out. Okay,
it's a good spinoff.
What?
Candy and the Gang. It's a good spinoff.
It actually is really good.
Yeah, it's quality. It's actually pretty good.
I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
Except for, can we just actually just talk about the room downstairs? It looks like a funeral parlor.
Oh,
though,
the big OLG.
With the flowers all over the wall and like the fake
There could
grass.
be some different decor in there.
Oh.
I've eaten at OLG right when it came out.
Was it good?
Yeah, was it good?
I thought it was good. Yeah,
Okay.
I thought it was good.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's great. Like, I think just how many businesses and everything that she's done and all of that. But if you're watching Atlanta, they're acting like there's massive cracks in their
I know they're really pushing that this season because we never really see that Todd and Candy dynamic where they're having issues like this, except when Mama Joyce. But like this season, we literally talked about they're like exposing. Yeah.
But when they show up to that apartment in Jersey that he wants to hold on so desperately, I understand it as an investment. But we walk in there, I was like, oh, it's a whole fixer upper.
Yeah,
like it's a whole thing.
But I'm ready for Kenya's home design show now. Even though I don't necessarily love Kenya, I was very intrigued by her.
Wait, is she really getting one?
No, but she should.
That episode, though, we're like, they're setting this up. She wants her own home design spinoff.
Yeah.
That's exactly what she's
Everybody wants a home. Everybody that, like, remotely, like, replaced a countertop is like, you know what I could do? Like, oh, I'd open up this wall.
Wait.
It's, like, not that hard to do.
Wait, Heather, no joke. Okay, so we have some shows that we're pitching right now to production companies and networks. You know how the game goes. You have these pitch meetings.
Yeah.
You have 30 minutes with somebody or whatever, and you talk. And one of the things is like, so do you guys do? Because we're always like, we love Chip and Joanna Gaines, but we can't really flip houses.
Put some shiplap over there.
Yeah, we'll put a shiplap over there.
Yeah.
And they're always like, do you guys flip houses? Because that would be like a or interracial like gay couple. That's we could sell that.
I mean, that's a slam dunk.
And then we're always like, well, Emile's like, well, AJ did put up this wallpaper, this peel and stick from Target.
I got these plans from Amazon. And they look at us like,
is no joke.
Yeah, they look at us like we're effing crazy. Oh, God.
Got the sofa from Wayfair.
Too good.
Before they thought they were trafficking children through the website.
Yeah, I know. In cabinets. I put this couch together. All right, next secret.
Okay. Anonymous female Washington. Water-based and silicone-based lubes really don't work for me. And Kingston, can you please, for the love of God, stop whining? We are on the other side of the door. It's not that serious.
Go lay down.
Okay. Water-based and silicone-based lubes really don't work for me, and I hate spending the money on them when there are so many natural alternatives.
Okay.
My go-to alternatives are egg whites, yogurt, and olive oil. Sounds gross, but they work like a charm.
For lube?
Okay, wait.
For lube?
Oh, God.
Okay.
Listen, I think those lubes are made and they're FDA approved because it's fine if you're using the lube alone, but if you're participating with someone else, I think you have to be on the same page of like, are you okay with this?
With the
are
yogurt?
You allergic to this? Like, I don't think you can just all of a sudden be like, let me open up the wine and crack some eggs open and mix it. I mean, like,
Cracking egg on their ass.
You're like, oh, you like that, don't you? This is
like,
the foreplay.
And lubes are so cheap. What are you are so expensive? Like, what are you talking about? You can't afford the lube. You can't afford to be having sex.
Yeah, you're probably not prepared for a sexual life.
I forgot what I was watching. I was watching something recently. Oh, remember we were randomly watching clips from the doctors. I don't know how we got on YouTube and ended up there. But do you remember they were talking about using olive oil as a lubricant, and the guy literally said no because it can cause an infection, like all these different things. They were talking about that.
And then I think I was like,
yeah, like food items should not be up your butt or vagina. Like, think about that. Like, no.
Okay, can I reveal something
You
really
use olive
embarrassing?
oil?
No, okay, so when I first learned back in the day, like I was like a kid, everybody learns with like lotion or Vaseline or like whatever like boys do when they're that age. That's what you do. But I remember one time, I can't believe I'm saying this. One time when I was in like maybe high school, junior high probably, I didn't have any and I was like a horny kid. I used Pam cooking spray. I sprayed it into my hand and went to town. But I was by myself. It was just me, nobody else.
Did it tingle?
I did it more than once, so it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible.
Hey, listen, the experience was good. Oh my gosh.
Oh, my ex and I, when I was in my 20s, my first boyfriend and I had sex with lotion one time because we couldn't afford lube because we were broke. And we used sun-ripened raspberry from Bath and Body Works. You remember that one? Remember that area? Cucumber, melon, plumeria, sun-ripened raspberry?
Oh, that smells.
Oh, so bad.
Yeah, I'm sure it smelled glorious as you guys were.
It did not.
Just escalated.
Okay, last one before we get to Heather's secret.
Okay.
This one's Anonymous Male US.
Okay.
One of my absolute favorite childhood delicacies was toilet paper. What? Woo, the flavor was immaculate. Oh, wow. And the texture out of this world. I would tear off a little piece each and every time I visited the bathroom. They were eating toilet paper?
It's so interesting because you don't know what people are into.
Yeah, no, but there was a whole show like on
Yes.
TLZ.
Oh,
where
My
people
Strange
were eating
Addiction?
Couches.
Rocks?
Yes.
Kitty litter?
Yes.
That's what basically this is. So, like, you're not alone. It was a weird thing that you must have tried as a child. And then somehow it was some comfort or something to you. I mean, does the person say they don't still do it or they still do it?
I feel like they still do it.
You know they still do it.
They probably just don't want to admit it, but they go. They finish using the restroom. Like, oh, I need a little hit of that and take a little piece. I would say
I don't think you're alone, but I would look it up.
Yeah.
And I would see how you can stop doing it.
Yeah.
And because I don't think it's probably, again, healthy for you.
Did you have any like weird quirks or anything like that, or like hits? Like growing up, was there something you did that was really odd and strange?
I mean, I love the smell of magic markers, gasoline,
Oh yeah.
liquid paper.
Oh.
I liked that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So you like the what huff? What is it called? Whippets? I mean, okay.
There was a oh God, it was an intervention where a girl, it was one of the most famous ones from like 10 years ago. She was addicted to this stuff that you would spray to clean out your keyboard. She would buy those from like Staples, and you could not get enough of them. And it was like the most viral video about it. But I guess it was sort of like that. But I never felt addicted, just like I never felt like I had to have a magic marker near me, but if I saw one, like a real big, new, fat one, and it was just, I would be like, let me just take a sniff of this.
Yeah, that's good.
Just cut that promo right there. If I saw one, just like a real big fat one, let me just take a sniff.
I just want to take a sniff of it.
People are like, what is she talking about? I wasn't the type. I didn't have any strange addictions. I was just a very curious child. So I think you know this story. I think the stupidest thing I did when I was young is we got like it was when not a food processor. Maybe a food processor where it has the blade and you put stuff in.
A blender?
No, it wasn't a blender.
Oh, Cuisinart.
Yeah, it's like a hole, and then you put
hole.
It was wait, isn't that a food processor?
Sure,
You
can
put like
be.
a juicer.
A juicer, yeah.
Okay,
A juicer.
I knew it would come to me. Anyway, my dad loved getting all these gadgets from Costco, like all the time. Like he would get a bread maker and make one loaf of bread, and it would sit on the shelf forever. So he got a new juicer, and for some reason, and this looking back makes no sense, I could not stop thinking about this juicer. So we had an alarm system in the house, and AJ's been to my parents' house. They lock.
It's like Fort Knox. They lock every layer of rooms.
They turn on the alarm.
They lock you in the basement.
And then they have a lock on the door to the living room and the kitchen, so you can't get in. You have to turn the alarm off, then unlock it, and then they have a lock to the basement.
Literally to enter each room.
Like, it's very weird.
Because his dad was a pastor, so I had to sleep in the basement bedroom, and he was upstairs, and I was locked in there.
Wait, but pause. That's not the point of the story. The point of the story is I turned the alarm system off while my parents were sleeping, snuck into the kitchen after I took the lock off, and I could not stop thinking about this juicer. I turned the juicer on. Then I turned it off, and I decided to stick my index finger in before the blades fully stopped. I don't know why. So just keep in mind, like, you talked about your step.
What?
I know. It doesn't make sense. I don't know. I feel like I was possessed in the moment or something. That's the only thing that makes sense. So you talked about your stepdaughter coming home with tattoos. So just imagine I go back to my room with the bloody finger at like midnight, and I'm trying to figure out how I tell my dad. And so I'm like, Dad? He comes in. He's like, what did you do? It literally was like scarred. I have the incision somewhere. Wow. I had to get stitches, but it was I had like skin hanging off. We had to go to the ER. Anyway.
But did you blame that finger on Amber Heard throwing a vodka bottle at you?
Okay.
That sounds just like Johnny Depp's finger.
Okay. I know
Did her defense attorney know that a juicer could have been involved?
Full circle moment here. We mentioned Kourtney Kardashian earlier in her marriage to Travis Barker.
Yeah.
I worked with Amber Heard once. And Kourtney Kardashian was in the audience. And I did a sit-down interview with her for this charity event, and we got to spend 20, 30 minutes together on stage, and then also beforehand in the hotel, and we had like a hotel room. And I'll tell you, Johnny's wild, but like Amber, like she just gives me weird vibes. Like
so she was not a delight.
No, every single thing about her felt so just manipulative, like everything. And I was interviewing her at a point where she was supposed to be talking about like orphan children, and she was like bawling this far from me, and there wasn't a tear anywhere. Like nobody in the audience could see that because they were far enough away, but the two of us up there, I was like, this feels so fake. It just feels odd. So that I'm not saying that I think
that's very, very juicy. And I mean, I definitely think that this has proven that she set out to, be with people that could, she was a social climber, a career climber. She set out to do that. And then she's a very manipulative person. Was violent with other people. Like, I also think sometimes couples get together and they really are horrible. And after they break up or before they met, they could be really great partners to someone else, and they might be a great partner. It's like just because. But I also think by finding their exes and stuff doesn't necessarily mean that just because they were pleasant to those three people, that once they met you guys were so wrong for each other that you brought out the ultimate worst in each other.
I agree with that completely.
So, because I have friends, and like she had the worst marriage ever, and they shared the same birthday, and once they got divorced, her kids would go visit him and his new wife and baby, and the kids would be like, "Mom, no, they never fight." Like not that it was her, but it could have been the two of them together.
Sure.
And I think and same with her, she can go on now and find someone that they were just a horrible match. So I think they were a horrible match for each other.
For the moment that we've all been waiting for. It's that time where our special guests kind of unload something and gets it off their chest. Oh my God.
She's going to unload off her chest? That's how you introduce that?
Hey, listen, we already talked about the huffing.
This is going to be interesting, though, because Heather, you're an open book. Like, and one of the things I will say about your comedy, and before I give your secret, I would like to get your take on this, because so many comedians right now are just getting canceled, right? Of course, the Will Smith, Chris Rock thing, it dominated headlines for a while. Dave Chappelle's been in the headlines a lot for like anti-trans jokes and things like that. So some people are really upset. Some people are saying just let them tell their comedy. What I like about your type of comedy is that, one, you make fun of yourself and your family a lot. So you keep a lot of it internal. And then you sort of just like make observations on a lot of like reality stars. And I feel like that's a little fair game because they're literally putting themselves out there on purpose. But what's your take on like where comedy sort of stands right now? And like, do you feel concerned going out on stage now? Or do you feel emboldened to like really like do your best work? Like, what goes through your mind when you step out onto the stage now?
Well, I am doing a show in Napa Valley to all your listeners. I'll be there June 17th with the hilarious Justin Martindale.
Love him.
And we're going to perform. And And after the Dave Chappelle thing, I had an idea after the Will Smith thing, is I said, I know this is going to start happening more, So then with the Dave Chappelle thing, and there were a couple incidents where it happened with people, and there's YouTubes on it with audience members coming up and attacking the comedian, but it didn't get the press that Dave Chappelle did. And I think that, so I had mentioned what about just hiring? Because, if you're Dave Chappelle, you can go with private security and you've got 5 guys or 10 guys, big guys in the back that can attack your attacker. Mm-hmm. But if you're on your own which most comedians travel alone, guy, girl, they travel alone, but especially being a female, it is always kind of scary. And it's like the one art form where you're alone on the stage. I don't have a band behind me. I don't have another comedian. That's it. So it is very vulnerable. And most clubs don't have or can afford the kind of security that you would for Adele, So I had put it out there, and I will for my fall tour, that any juicy scoopers who have a husband or wife or whatever that are police officers that would like to can come and sit there for free. It's just good. Why not? Why not just offer the tickets? And that way it's local. That way people don't have to travel with a private security and get them a hotel room. And it just makes more economical sense. And shouldn't they enjoy some fun comedy? I mean, it's pretty hard to be a police officer. So it's that's the way I feel about it. I do feel, though, and the story I'm going to tell has a little bit to do with that, because I think oftentimes when people are telling jokes or come up with jokes, the intention, honestly, when people say that was not my intention, I do believe 90% of the time it was not their intention. Jokes can be interpreted differently, and this is what I'm going to confess.
Okay, so let's get so we're there. So let us go.
Okay, we're there.
It's a big moment. It's a big moment. What a segue! It's time for you, Heather McDonald, to confess your mess.
So I was a senior at USC, and I lived in my sorority house, the Gamma Phi Beta sorority house. And towards the end of my senior year, I was really feeling myself, and I hadn't announced I wanted to be a stand-up, but I did think, how can I create a career where I can come down, because our big night was Thursday nights to party, or I could come down on a Friday, recap the night, and have this captive audience. It didn't occur to me to go be a stand-up, but I thought, how can I make this a career? So everyone just thought I was f***ing hilarious. I only had a couple months left of school. So I go to spring break in Cabo. And you know how there's signs all over Mexico where it's someone walking across the street with a child or running across the border or whatever, and they have a big X, don't do that.
Yeah.
So I go into this one bar, and the bathroom has all these signs of a girl puking in the toilet, and they're don't puke in the toilet. Don't get so drunk and puke in the toilet, okay? And I just thought that was the fucking funniest thing I ever saw, because we're all such boozers.
Yeah.
And how funny is that, right? So I take a photo, old-fashioned camera, took a photo, went to Kinko's and made all these flyers with that. And then woke up at 5 a.m. And this is a house that houses 60 girls. So there's several bathrooms with different stalls where you'd wash your face, go to the bathroom, and then 2 or 3 toilet stalls. And in all the toilet stalls, I put the signs everywhere. So if you're facing the toilet to puke, you'd see it. If you were walking out, you'd see it. And I had told 2 other friends that are with me, this is gonna be I cannot wait to come downstairs, have everyone say it was the funniest thing, and then me admit I'm the one that did that, and then them just think I am, the funniest person that ever walked here.
Oh my God.
I come down like it's fucking Christmas, just ready to just hear the accolades of girl, you're just so funny. Come down, and the girls were that was absolutely horrible. That was so insensitive, making fun of bulimics. Who in our house did that? And da-da-da-da.
Oh.
And of course, we had some, bulimics or people that we suspected of being bulimic, okay? Everyone did. It was the 90s.
Oh, no.
And I was yeah, that is so weird. I ran upstairs, told my 2 friends, I'm we're taking it as a fucking grave or until podcasting becomes a big thing. And I have to do it on Confess Your. your mess. But I literally was like, nobody's ever knowing this.
Oh my gosh.
So there are like, sometimes the intention is not how it was interpreted.
Oh my God.
Especially in this society.
You saved that story for this moment, Heather. I adore you.
Yeah,
I love you so much.
She was like, I'm gonna wait until that day in 2022.
You'll see, my youngins. Yeah.
Oh, I will say this, Heather. You know, when we launched this thing last summer, you're literally one of the very first people we reached out to. I've been on your podcast, and I admire so much. We both do what you've been doing for years now. I've been on the podcast. Emile was your first videographer, the first time you ever did a live show.
Yeah, in Irvine.
I remember you thinking at that time, gosh, I don't know. You were nervous. You're like, I don't know. Is this thing going to go well? It's my first live one. Fast forward 5 years. You're killing it. Like, you're one of the most successful podcasts on the planet. And you made time for us. And we really, really genuinely appreciate it. We know you don't have a lot of free time. So not only did you make time for us, you also cracked us up. That's a hilarious story.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thanks, you guys, and good luck with the nuptials and all that stuff. And I hope it goes perfectly. And if it doesn't, just know it's not about the day. It's about all the days after that. So if some little detail or something, or even if someone's being, a dick or a vagina, that's what, whenever I've called my son a dick before, and he's like, well, then you're a vagina. Just don't let them ruin your day. That's all. That's what I say to every person that's about to get married. Like, have the best time, but also, like, lower your expectations just a tad, because something could happen that's out of your control.
Well, don't worry. We've lowered our expectations.
We've raised the budget and lowered the expectations.
Last thing before you go, what would we always ask our guests before they leave? What would you say is your takeaway of the day? So something from this podcast we were like,
don't spend a lot of money on dick jewelry. I would invest in something a little more important.
That's the title of the podcast. Don't spend a lot of money on dick jewelry with Heather McDonald. Thank you so much.
We love you. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thanks, you guys.
Confess your mess.
Confess Your Mess is a Straw Hut Media podcast produced by Ryan Tillotson and Frank Driscoll. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and share.
And if you have a secret you want to share, go to confessyourmess.us to submit. Your secret could end up in the show.
Ooh.